What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so yesterday, of course, we saw the conclusion of the 2025 Eastern Conference Finals between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. The Pacers eliminated the Knicks as I said they would in 6 games, and the Pacers are headed to the NBA Finals for just the second time in franchise history, the first time in 25 years, as I said they were going to do 3 weeks ago. So congratulations to the Pacers. Unfortunately, we also saw the end of an era. After 40 years, TNT will no longer air basketball or NBA content. It was announced about a year ago, I think now, or close to a year ago, that TNT had failed to renew their basketball rights with the NBA, and their rights going to, I think their rights went to NBC and Amazon. A deal has been worked out so that the NBA on TNT, arguably the most popular basketball show on television. I guess it is the most popular. I know First Take is very popular, but I can't say that First Take is strictly just basketball. So the NBA and NBC is very, very popular. We had a lot of networks that try to make copycat shows, but none of them can quite, replicate the magic that we see with the NBA on NBC, which of course features Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, and the OG Ernie Johnson. They will be airing on ESPN. So this was their sign-off show. And appropriately, Shaq dropped an F-bomb on television. And he said that they're going to come to ESPN and their mission is to dominate. And, it's fortunate that Ernie Johnson had a change of heart, because the initial reports were that Ernie Johnson was not going to come over to NBC or ESPN or whatever the new incarnation was. But he changed his mind on that. And I'm glad, because they're the fearsome foursome to me, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think you just can't break that team up. I just don't think it would have worked if you replaced him with somebody else. So, look, Ernie Johnson had been with TNT since 1989, I believe it was. So that's a more than 35-year stint with one network. As I said before, if I'm not mistaken, TNT has had rights to NBA games since 1984, I believe. So they've been airing basketball content for 40 years. I think the second longest in tenure is Kenny Smith, who joined TNT after his playing career ended in 1996-97. I think his last team was like the Nuggets or the Pistons, I think it was. It was Craig Sager, the late great Craig Sager, that told Kenny Smith that, he could be successful in the business of sports analogy if he took it seriously. Then next in 10 years, Charles Barkley. He joined TNT back in, I think, 2000 after he retired. Initially, the reports were that Charles Barkley was going to join NBC, but as he explained yesterday in the series finale for the NBA on TNT, he changed his mind after having dinner with TNT executives. And he said it was the best decision he made. And honestly, as great a player as Charles Barkley is, his tenure, his 25-year tenure on TNT, I think has further, not only has it further what's what I'm looking for, it's further extended his star power and has further strengthened his greatness as an athlete, and it's made him more um, accessible to younger fans. And that's why he's so popular now, because it's created more relevance for him. Had he not gone into broadcasting, because if he had not gone to broadcasting and just been like, some of these other guys who basically pop up every now and then for an interview, like a Karl Malone, well, then, Karl Malone was a great player, but he's not really relevant in the grand scheme of things anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have so many people calling him, a guy like Karl Malone, they'll call him, a janitor or plumber, you know what I'm saying? Because he's not out there vocalizing and educating young people on how the game used to be played, and, what he was capable of doing, and the things that players in his generation did do. But, kudos to Charles Barkley. And, Shaq grew on me a little bit, because I was not a huge fan when Shaq joined TNT back in 2011. I wasn't a big fan of his. And I think Shaq has gotten better with his analysis. But I think he's gotten much better with his vocal skills. Shaq has a very deep voice, and I think he's got a lot better at not mumbling as much. Because Shaq sometimes would mumble, and you have to kind of project your voice a little bit more when you're on TV, when you have a deep voice. And the dynamic between him and Charles was kind of misunderstood at first. A lot of people thought that they didn't like each other, but that's just two alpha males constantly pawing at each other. You know what I'm saying? Charles doesn't back down. Shaq doesn't back down. Sometimes there is some real tension there, but it's not in really in any situation where it's any real malice. It's just natural, almost brotherly type sibling rivalry / love and affection. It's always going to be there. But anyway, I look forward to these guys coming over to ESPN, and I pray that ESPN doesn't screw this dynamic up or screw this product up. I think they have enough clout that that's not going to happen, but we'll see. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.